guys, welcome back. In case you missed my video last week, I decided to do a series of videos intended on teaching you how to become a cake decorator / cake artist. Last week we went over the tools that you would need and how to use them. Today we're going to go over baking. So in teaching you how to bake, I'm not going to start off with cakes from scratch. I mean, we all know cakes from scratch taste better. I mean, that's just a fact of life. But cakes from scratch can also be difficult for people who, are new to baking or haven't ever baked a cake before or something. So we're going to start out with the more simple box mix. With some tweaking, box mixes can actually taste pretty decent. Whether some bakers want to admit it or not, there is a place in society for cake mixes. If it weren't true, Duncan Hines, Betty Crocker, and Pillsbury would not be spending millions of dollars every year into their cake line. Box mixes have been around for over 50 years and, they're not going anywhere. And there's a lot of people out there that just want to make a cake for their kid. They're not wanting, to spend an hour and a half, getting all their ingredients and mixing and spending all that time to bake a cake. So they do have their place. And like I said, with some tweaking, they can taste pretty good. Now, they're not all the same. Pillsbury and Betty Crocker have pudding in the mix. All right, and what does that mean? Well, that means these cakes will turn out more moist and denser than this one. Duncan Hines does not put pudding in their mix. However, these will not rise as high as this cake. Plus, these will shrink a little bit more than Duncan Hines as they cool. So those are some things to consider. Okay, one last thing to know about these mixes. All of them are very misleading. If you didn't know any better and you looked at the back, all of them list how long to bake different sized pans. And if you looked at it, you would think that one box mix would do either a 13x9 or 2 8-inch rounds or 2 9-inch rounds, or, it makes 24 cupcakes. Well, no, you're not going to get any of that. If you wanted to do 2 8-inch rounds, you're going to need 2 cake mixes. Okay, it's misleading. You're not going to get that, and you sure as heck are not going to get 24 cupcakes. One cake mix will not do it. You can try spreading it in there, but the batter is just going to be about that thick, and when it bakes, it's only going to be, about that thick. It's pitiful. So while they don't come right out and say that this one mix will do it, it's just misleading. So know that. So know, really, anytime you're going to bake a cake at home, always pick up at least 2, because it's going to take 2 mixes to do an 8-inch or 9-inch rounds. So just keep that in mind. So let's start baking. Okay, the first step to baking is you got to prepare your pans. Now, I have good quality pans. And by the way, I do have a video. If you haven't bought your cake pans, watch that video. It's all about how to tell quality in a cake pan. And you take your cake pans and you grease them. Now, I also made a video, which you should watch, on how to make your own pan grease. And so I'll include links to these videos down below. So when you use the pan grease, you're actually greasing and flouring at the same time. So you take it and you just go around, make sure you coat the bottom and the sides. That one's done. Now, if you don't have this recipe, Why not? Should have watched that video. The traditional way to do it is to take Crisco and you first grease it all over the bottom and the sides, just like you did with the other pan. Get that done, and then you take some flour and you shake the flour all over the bottom. When you get the bottom coated, tap it down to get all the flour on the sides, and then you just roll it to get the sides coated. You just roll it around. Sometimes you might have to tap it to get it coated. And then you just knock out the excess flour and your pan's all ready. So that's how you grease pans. Okay, when you're baking a cake, you need to know that the cake bakes from the outside edge in, and it pushes that batter. As this bakes, it pushes the raw batter to the center, and the center of the cake is the last part that bakes. Now, if you set your oven temperature to 350, which is what's recommended on the cake boxes, you're going to overbake your edges. Those are going to bake pretty quickly, and it's going to quickly push that batter to the center, and you're going to get a big dome in the center. And as you wait for that center to bake, these edges are going to overbake, and you're going to have some dry cake on the outside. And in some cases, depending upon what you're baking, you could technically burn your outside while you wait for your inside to finish baking. So what I recommend is lowering your temperature to 325. If you lower the temperature to 325, it gives the cake a more even bake. It slows everything down. The batter isn't pushed as fast. You'll have a little bit of a dome, but it won't be as big as baking at 350. So everything bakes a little more evenly, and you don't dry out your edges waiting for the center to get done. So that's why I recommend baking at 325. Now remember, it will take a little longer to get done baking at 325, but to me the payoff is worth it.
So let's make this Pillsbury devil food cake. Now I'm using two 9-inch pans, so I'm going to need 2 box mixes. So step 1 is to dump both mixes into the mixer bowl. So because we're using the 2 recipes, or the 2 boxes, we're going to need to double all the ingredients, and it calls for the 2 cups of water. But I want to mask the kind of odd taste that box mixes have, and a good way to do that with a chocolate cake is instead of adding water, you add coffee. Now, no, your cake is not going to taste like coffee at all, but the coffee does enhance the chocolate flavor. So it will taste a little more chocolatey by adding coffee instead of adding water. I've got little instant granules, and I just do a big heaping tablespoon and 2 cups of water, stir it up, let it dissolve, and add that to the cake mix. I set the coffee aside to make sure that the granules dissolve, and I go ahead and I add the oil and 6 eggs. One thing that's nice about a box mix is you just generally have 3 ingredients: eggs, oil, and a liquid. After the oil and eggs, I add the coffee, and then I put it on the stand mixer, and I turn it on low for about 30 seconds, and then I'll stop it and scrape down the sides. Now, if you don't have a stand mixer, you can do this with a hand mixer. You don't have to have a stand mixer. Just turn it on low for the first 30 seconds or so. After you scrape down the sides, go ahead, turn the mixer back on a medium speed, and set a timer for 2 minutes. You don't want to beat it too long or too fast because that can cause air pockets in the batter, and then you end up, when it's baking, have air holes in your cake. Another great way to mask that you're using a box mix is to add some chocolate chips to the batter. You can add all kinds of things. Here I'm adding some semi-sweet mini chips. I like to use the mini chips because they don't sink so bad to the bottom of the pan. And how to keep them from doing that is you take a little bit of flour, like literally like a half a tablespoon to a tablespoon, and you coat the chocolate chips before adding them to the batter. That way it helps them stay suspended in the batter so you get chocolate chips throughout the cake and not just them sinking to the bottom of the pan. Once you get the chips coated in the flour, all that's left to do is just to stir them into the batter. This is such an easy and great way to make a box mix taste more like it's from scratch. Between the adding the coffee and adding the chocolate chips, it really does transform a box mix into something quite delicious. As you pour the batter into the pan, make sure you fill the pan at least halfway full, but no more than 3/4 of the way full. You don't want it overflowing, but you also don't want these thin little layers. So I usually try to fill mine right around 3/4 of the way full. Spread the batter out evenly in the pans. Now note, we used 2 cake mixes, and it's taking all of 2 cake mixes in order to do 2 9-inch round pans. So that's what I was saying. The back of the box is very misleading. But once you get them in, get them all leveled, then you can pop them in the oven. For baking, the directions on the box tell you that a cake is done when you insert a toothpick in the center and it comes out clean. I say if you do that, you've already overbaked your cake. I remove my cakes from the oven when I insert a toothpick in the center and it comes out with tiny pieces of cake stuck to it. I then remove the cakes and let them sit in the pan on a cooling rack. The cake pan is hot when you take it out, and the cake will continue to cook as it sits there. After 5 minutes or so, I turn them out onto a cooling rack to cool. On a side note, look at the difference in appearance. The cake on the left is the pan that was greased and floured, and the cake on the right is the one that I used the pan grease with. Sorry, somehow I managed to lose the original footage, so I'm having to reuse this video. But anyway, the last step is to wrap the cake layers in saran wrap while the layers are still just slightly warm. Once wrapped, let them cool the rest of the way in the fridge. This keeps them super moist. Well, guys, that'll about do it for this one. I hope it helped you with your baking. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section down below. I do get back to everyone. Next video, we'll be going over leveling, filling, crumb coating, making icing, and icing the cake smooth. So that'll be a lot going on in that one. Please give this a thumbs up if it helped you. That way YouTube will share it with more people, and I would really appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done that already, and I will catch you all in the next one. Bye-bye.